The four-day Communist Party Plenum, which opened Monday in Beijing, marks a defining moment for President Xi Jinping of China. Beyond the sterile language of economic planning, the conclave, which is attended by more than 300 of China's most powerful political figures, is about reaffirming control amidst the turbulence within the People's Liberation Army and in China's fraught diplomatic relations with America. The fourth plenary session is expected to finalize the 15th five-year plan that runs from 2026 to 2030. This would set the strategic direction on China's economic model, its military posture, and its social governance. Such plenums often serve the purpose of a mid-term recalibration of the party's hold on power. This particular plenum, though, bears the hallmark of crisis management. In his opening address, Xi Jinping urged focus on high-quality growth, technological self-sufficiency, and modernization of the military. He also warned senior generals of the military to be prepared for significant trials ahead. With the Chinese economy expanding just 4.8% in the third quarter, which is the weakest since the COVID years, the stakes are now much higher. Xi Jinping's remarks emphasize continuity of his vision for dual circulation, which is balancing internal demand with strategic decoupling from the Western economies, particularly from the United States. But there was high drama just ahead of the plenum. The purge of General He Weidong was the perfect political theater just before the plenary began. Announced on the 18th of October, just a couple of days before the plenum, the expulsion of 9 senior PLA generals, including He Weidong, who served as the vice chairman of the Central Military Commission, sent shockwaves through China's military elite. He was widely regarded as China's second most powerful general. He was effectively the vice commander of the armed forces and, once upon a time, a trusted ally of Xi Jinping. A career officer from the Eastern Theater Command, He oversaw operations around Taiwan, and he had earned Xi's confidence, particularly during the previous military restructuring that happened in 2017. Therefore, He's removal signals more than just a corruption case. It suggests deep factional unease inside the PLA. And the context of this purge could not get worse for Xi Jinping. He had reportedly given an unofficial deadline of 2027 to reassert China's control over Taiwan. 2027 is the year that the People's Liberation Army of China completes 100 years. The Defense Ministry accused He Weidong of serious job-related crimes involving extremely large sums of money. They also accused him of a collapse of beliefs, blaming him for undermining both military unity and also party authority. Notably, these purges were announced just a couple of days before the party's top plenum, which turned out to be an unmistakable act of political choreography. The purge conveniently reinforces Xi's message that corruption equals disloyalty and discipline in the military means loyalty to the party above all else. It also reflects concerns about reliability within the ranks after several rocket force commanders were removed earlier this year. By making He Weidong, who was once considered incorruptible, into a cautionary tale, Xi Jinping is projecting unwavering dominance at home. Xi Jinping's method of ruling through periodic purges and public discipline achieves two aims. One, it eliminates potential rivals, while at the same time it portrays Xi Jinping as the guardian of China's national integrity. The coordinated timing illustrates how Xi merges domestic consolidation with external signaling. Domestically, Xi Jinping needs to deter uncertainty in the country. There have been months of financial distress, there have been mass layoffs, there are real estate defaults. The country's never really recovered from the COVID years. Internationally, Xi Jinping must demonstrate that China remains stable, maybe even ruthless, under his command. So that message, meant for the international audience, was equally aimed at one other world leader, which is American President Donald Trump. With a possible meeting between Xi Jinping and Trump now likely for later this month on the sidelines of the APEC summit in South Korea, Beijing and Washington are bracing for a confrontation. The two presidents are expected to meet around the end of the month, marking their first direct meeting since Trump's return to office in January. It will take place amidst the most fierce escalation of the trade war since Trump came back to office for a second term. In early October, China announced sweeping export controls on 12 rare earth metals, which are vital for the semiconductor and defense industries. China basically made it mandatory that all foreign companies have to obtain special export licenses even if their products use less than 0.1% of rare earths extracted in China. Just a few days after that announcement, President Trump retaliated with a declaration of 100% tariffs on all Chinese imports effective starting November 1. He described Beijing's new export restrictions as extraordinarily aggressive. The move could lift American tariffs on Chinese goods to as high as 130%. If both sides don't clinch a trade deal, that would ignite panic across world markets. It would force American multinationals to reconfigure their supply chains. And that is not something that either party wants.
I think China's been very respectful of us. They're paying tremendous amounts of money to us in the form of tariffs. As you know, they're paying 55%. That's a lot of money. They never were paying anything over years and years and years. But they were like anybody else. A lot of countries took advantage of the U.S. They're not taking advantage anymore. No, China's paying 55% and a potential 155% come November 1st unless we make a deal. And I'm meeting with President Xi. We have a very good relationship. We're going to be meeting in South Korea in a couple of weeks. And we'll see what we can do. We have a very good relationship with China, but you know, it's been probably a little bit like your relationship with China. They try and take advantage, but most countries do. I mean, I can say the European Union took advantage, but not anymore. We worked out a very fair trade deal. Japan, we worked out a very fair deal. South Korea, where I'll be meeting President Xi, we worked out a very fair deal, and I expect we'll probably work out a very fair deal with President Xi of China. So most of you will be with us. It's going to be very exciting. And I think we're going to work out something that's good for both countries.
Trump, who had briefly hinted that the meeting with Xi Jinping might be cancelled, he confirmed last week that he will indeed sit down across the table with Xi. Trump had described the meeting as a showdown over fair trade. Chinese state media, while cautiously confirming Xi's attendance of the APEC summit, has downplayed expectations of a breakthrough when both leaders meet. In fact, they're both backed into a nationalist corner. Trump is under domestic pressure to appear tough on China. Xi Jinping is facing internal fissures, so he cannot afford to appear weak either. The timing of the plenum, the purge of the second most senior general, and the looming APEC summit meeting with Trump collectively all serve one goal, and that is to reassert Xi Jinping's personal authority in uncertain times. China's economic slowdown, coupled with worsening external conditions, has narrowed Xi Jinping's political flexibility. The leadership must now balance control at home and defiance abroad. It's a classic move of all embattled autocrats, Xi Jinping being no exception.